Hello and welcome to Raise Your Vibes right here on KP Media TV. I'm your host, Athena Bahri, Reiki Master, author of award-winning book Raise Your Vibes, and creator of Crystal Reiki Healer, bringing you spiritual education, meditations, the gift of Reiki, and inspirational guests from around the world to help guide you on your journey to live happier and healthier. Thank you for tuning in. It is such a gift to be sharing energy with you here on KP Media TV. Today's show is sponsored by Westwood Clinic of West Los Angeles, California, where wellness is found with compassion, chiropractic care, and healing tools of the highest technology for your physical pain relief and healing. They are a certified MLS laser therapy facilitating helping thousands of patients reclaim their health and overcome the limitations of living without pain. Find out more about this amazing healing space at westwoodclinic.com. And now we have a very special guest joining us today. Please welcome Michelle Alegria, a Chicago native, Emmy Award-winning TV reporter, journalist, and actress, and now founder of the nonprofit We Just Breathe Foundation, focused on empowering our underserved youth with mindfulness tools to find inner peace and improved mental health. She is bringing to the world the gifts of mindfulness, breathwork, and meditation, changing the lives with coping mechanisms to alleviate their suffering and become crusaders of their own in their wellness journey. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us here on Raise Your Vibes. I'm so grateful to have you on the show today.
I'm so honored. Thank you, Athena.
Of course. So you are bringing such incredible and significant shifts in energy for our youth. How did you make this transition from TV and journalism to mindfulness and giving back to our youth?
Well, it actually came at a time where I was living my beautiful life in the midst of chaos. It actually happened during COVID. So in 2020, and it was at a time where I was working from home, but also I had have three kids who were also doing school from their iPads, so virtual learning. And we were pretty much all locked up on lockdown. And it was really stressful. There was a lot of anxiety, not to mention just a year prior to COVID, my children lost their father. So we had to learn a lot about mindfulness and different modalities to deal with our grief, our anxiety, and our stress. But through that, we also found a way to unite and come together. And while I was doing that, I also saw a lot of news stories talking about the stressors that children around the world were feeling, especially those living in underserved communities, those who had less than we have, no Wi-Fi, maybe parents who didn't speak the language. So I just imagined myself being in their shoes, not having resources or parents to help them with technology. So I wanted to go into those communities and find a way to help calm their nerves and find some calm in the midst of their chaos. So together with one of my yoga instructors, we went into some of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago and tried to build relationships with these kids and introduce them to the wonderful tool that we have right underneath our nose, the gift of life, that our breath, and how just to be still and how powerful our breath it really is.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Absolutely. During that time of COVID, so many kids, and you agreed, you would hear these stories about kids that didn't have, the houses, didn't have the parents that could take off work. A lot of these underserved communities, their parents were, still working through the pandemic. They were the essentials. They were the ones, the cleaners, the janitors, some of them even nurses, like single parents trying to get through and make a life. And I heard so many stories about these kids being actually home alone during the pandemic and not even being able to access school or have any kind of social life. So their stress levels. I mean, we saw it across the nation, across the world, really. These levels of depression, these levels of anxiety go skyrocket, especially in the youth. So it's amazing. I know they always say, like, through every disaster, every bit of chaos, there's always a silver lining. And I really appreciate that you grasp this opportunity to see a silver lining and reach out and help these. How was that for you when you went out to these underserved communities, when you went to the dangerous parts of Chicago? How did you feel walking into this for the first time?
Athena, that's such a great question because, as you mentioned, you talked a little bit about my background being in front of the camera and being an Emmy award-winning television reporter, and that's my career. But I can't tell you how fulfilling it was going into these communities and just connecting with these kids who just want to be seen, who just want to be heard, who want to find a sense of calm and peace from within. I got to tell you, it's the most rewarding thing I have done aside from being a mom of my 3 kids. Truly is.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so amazing. And you didn't have, I find that when you go into these underserved areas or these dangerous, areas, they kind of, the way the media portrays it, or the way we're told that these are, dangerous and something's going to happen to you. And so I feel like it kind of creates this wall between us and those that are actually suffering. But when you go in there and you actually connect with these kids and connect with these people, they're really not so scary. I mean, they're really, they're just like us. They're just trying to make their way in the world. I think when we approach them in that way and really listen to them and hear them, I think they're a lot more receptive than when we walk in and just, have this fear from them that separates us.
Well, we are all one, right, Athena? We all want the same
Absolutely.
thing. We want to be seen. We want to be loved. We want to be nurtured, right? And we also want to find our purpose. And so I found that introducing these children to tools that are basic, right? You don't
Yeah.
need
And free, right? And free.
free.
Everybody
You
has
don't
access to this.
correct. To be a member of a country club. You don't have to live in a certain zip code, right? To have these tools. They're right in your pocket, right? Right underneath your nose. And they allow us to all actually just reset and be centered and really grow awareness to how similar we all are. We're all the same. We all want the same things.
Yes,
And
we do.
and
And it's amazing you're reaching out to them and showing them this, that they have these tools, that it's available. So when you walk into some of these, or to anybody in our youth, because they're, especially the youth is struggling so much, and children, they're our future. Like, they are our life and breath in the future. And so giving them these tools is so important. So when you meet, like, some of these kids and you're, or any child, and they haven't heard about this, they don't know what breath work is, they don't know what mindfulness is, or it's just some kind of, weird hippie word off in the background. How do you give them, a starting point there? When you talk to them, what's an example of how you can tell them and share with kids that may be watching this, just a simple way to begin this process of, focusing on your breath and taking, appreciating that pause from all the stress?
well, I think that kids and even adults, we're all wired. We were all wired in a way where we had to be very productive. We had to be doing something constantly, right? On the go. And I think the most important message that we have to share with our youth is that it's okay to be still. And one of the most productive things you can do for yourself is to be still and do nothing and just really focus on your breath. So what I do is try to you know, not only build a relationship with these kids, but also just establish a sense of trust with these kids. I'm not trying to be their therapist, nor are any of these ambassadors that are going into these communities. We just want them to know that there is someone that is in this space, this sacred space with them, that is going to allow them to open up their heart, open up their mind, just be still with, and just be breathe, right? We want to develop a really safe space, and we want to be their containers where they're able to just open up their heart and shine their light, right? And raise their vibration.
Yes.
You talk about in part 2 of your book, which I have right here, by the way.
Oh, wonderful.
Raising your rituals, right? Your rituals. It's so important. So we want to try to encourage these kids to start a ritual, a routine, a daily routine, to just maybe spend 5 minutes, if not just if maybe just 2 minutes, or even just 1 minute, just to sit down, be still in a safe, quiet space, and just focus on their breath. So it's really important for us to kind of introduce these breath techniques to children where a visual is really big for them, right? So maybe we talk about the high five breath, right? It's in your back pocket. So we ask the kids to put their hands up and just kind of trace their fingers and take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale as you go down, and you're tracing inhale. So we like to use kind of visuals to teach them these simple exercises. Another good one is the hot chocolate breath, where we ask them to just sit and relax their body and just kind of pay attention to what they're feeling, wiggle their toes, and maybe move around their body, and just relax, and just to relax their eyes and visualize a cup of hot chocolate, which is actually something that we could use right now, right?
Yes.
But a cup of hot chocolate, right?
Yes. And that's great, using these visuals, right? Even for adults, visuals are so important, because that, separates you from what your mind has been spinning about or thinking about. Because now when you're focused on a visualization, or even just literally looking at your hand, that takes that connection away from whatever those thoughts were that were spinning. I really love that. That's such a powerful tool. And I should add that to, the next version of the book, adding in a ritual, because rituals are so important, because it gives people an action that they can take. It's not a ritual per se, like, when you think about witchy stuff, it's actually they're practices, they're rituals that you take an active step in your wellness journey. So that's amazing. Just looking at your hand. And then hot chocolate, visualizing, even using your sense of smell, right? To pull in that warm, amazing feeling, right? That you get when you're holding a cup of hot cocoa. I love that. That's so great. And how do they respond to this when you're telling them?
They love it. And especially with the children that we're working with, they're not used to consistency. So teaching them rituals and something that they can try to keep up on a daily basis, that's so important. So not only building a relationship and having the same ambassadors, with them through these little workshops, and having the same person, because some, they don't really have the same role models in their life oftentimes. And again, their schedules are so thrown off, and our schedules have been thrown off because of COVID. So having something that you're constantly doing, a constant reminder, is what we try to give them too. So we gift these children a yoga mat that they can place wherever they want. It could be in their living room, or in their bedroom, or even in the bath, in the bathtub, hopefully with no water, but safe space, right? Where it's a constant reminder. It's time for my ritual, right? It's time for my 1 minute of mindfulness.
I love that. And it makes such a difference for our own mental health, just taking that 1 minute, taking those 2 minutes, but being consistent about it. So you mentioned that you have, ambassadors that come in and work with these kids. So are these like mentors? Do they always see the same children? So when you talk about consistency, how do you organize this so that the children have this consistency with mindfulness and with the people they meet?
So what our objective is really to hire mindfulness ambassadors who are yoga instructors or breathwork facilitators of color. And we want these people to kind of represent the children. I think it's really important for these kids to see people doing things that inspire them, that look like them, right? That's really important. For me, I was introduced to yoga and meditation late in my life, right? And it's something that really wasn't accessible in the communities that I grew up in. And my parents didn't practice yoga. And what a wonderful thing to actually introduce these modalities to kids, because they are our future, right? And they go on using these same tools like you and I, right? When they become adults.
Yes. And why do we have to wait till we're adults, right? I so agree with that, because what we've already gone through all this trauma and all this emotional baggage and all this stuff. And if we only had some of these tools when we were starting, it would have been a much easier journey, to get where we are now, and then not have to go back and undo so much of the trauma that we've experienced in our own lives. So, I mean, these kids, they've already have, right, at even such a young age. So for them, it's like, this is just amazing and can prevent, running down the course of, getting themselves into trouble and in a world where they can't turn back and they can't get back out of it. When I'm talking to my kids, I always make it a point to say, and I have 3 as well, I'm always talking to them and saying, you have to consider that the choices you are making now really can affect you in a negative way for the rest of your life. So just before you act on something, just take a moment, just pause. And again, it's the beauty of this pause. And just think to yourself, like, is this really something that's going to benefit my life? And just even taking that moment, just taking that pause. First of all, it takes away the adrenaline rush of whatever it is they're getting into and the stress that pumps through that. Stress really negatively affects our physical body as well. So when we just take a moment to bring those levels down, you have so much more clarity, and then that gives them a chance to just kind of change direction. When you say, like, just switch that focus a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, stress and anxiety, it triggers, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, right? And it releases these hormones in your body that are doing more harm than good, right? Causing diseases, and more often than not, just causing you to just not be centered. So that is why breath work is so important, not only to heal the body, but also to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, right? It's the ability, it activates the ability to kind of just pause and grow awareness into what's going on. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? So breath work for kids is an excellent way for them to self-regulate, to really understand these big emotions that they're all having because of COVID, because of uncertainty, because they're just going through, the
Yes, that is so powerful. Especially how, our mental state and our mental well-being affects us physically, because everything manifests so often. The physical ailments that we're having are really caused by a different part that has just manifested itself. So, things with stress, it literally changes our hormones, literally changes how our body functions. And this manifests into physical ailment. This also, of course, manifests into behavior changes and things that really can affect our lives in a negative way. So this show is all about, trying to spread the word on how to raise our vibration so that we're not stuck in this constant of, spinning negative thoughts and spinning negative emotions. Can you give us, Michelle, would you give us just an example? It doesn't have to be long, but something where you could just show us what you mean when you say to work on breath work, when you're talking to these kids and, their breath is right here. I know you've got the visualization, but what is breath work? How do people start their journey on this using their breath?
I think that it's basic, right, Athena? There's so many scientific things that we can talk about how breath work makes you heals the body, right? But I like to just tell people just to try it, right? because just by trying it, the immediate effects and how you feel, it kind of like it sells itself, right? But just by
Absolutely.
relaxing the body and really connecting your mind and your body, it's so powerful. It decreases your heart rate, right? Because typically when
Right.
we're breathing we're going through our day to day, we take those shallow breaths. We breathe from our chest, right?
Yes.
But to get the most out of your breath, you have to breathe through your diaphragm, right? You have to actually take those big belly breaths where you
Yes.
expand the belly, right? And us, all of us here in LA, we're not all of us, but some of us are very conscious of not, expanding the belly. So we're constantly holding the belly in and sometimes even holding our breath. Again, doing more harm than good. Maybe look.
Again, I agree. I see that so much, especially with our younger girls, trying to be thin, trying to look fit, trying to keep it all in. And, in a lot of the Japanese culture, it's considered, a good thing to have a belly because that's your hara, that's your earth key connection to our physical plane. And by having that gut there, it's like it signifies having that strong connection to our earth. And that was one of the first things that I learned as well when I was working with mindfulness through UCLA. It was all about that belly breath. And I had never heard of this before. I had no idea what's a belly breath. And it actually took practice,
Yeah.
by placing your hand over
Well,
your belly and actually
because like
practicing.
because you can relate. You were in front of the camera for
Yeah,
many years, so you were right. You did
I
not
was
want
the
that
same.
belly. You had to hold that in, right? So it
Yeah, holding that
takes a
in.
while to retrain yourself to breathe like we do when we take our first breath, right? It's the first act of life. And you watch a little baby breathe and you see how beautiful their belly expands. That's exactly how we should be breathing. And that's how we breathe at night, most of us. That's how we should be breathing when we expand the belly, right? Feel it.
It's so true. These were years for myself, the most unstable years, the most reckless, the most, emotionally just unstable years, so much insecurity. So, I mean, I think back to my younger self and I wish I could just like, we all say this, we could just talk to them, talk some sense into them. And learn how to use our body as a vessel to improve our lives versus trying to fight against it. And whether it's through body image or, eating or clothing, wearing the right makeup, whatever this is, especially for these younger girls. And then for men, for boys, they have this, they're not allowed to show emotion. They're not allowed to, they have to be the tough guy and, boys don't cry and all this stuff. And for boys, it's so important, I think, to raise them in a way that they understand and they accept themselves too, and they're
Yeah.
honest with their emotions, honest with their feelings. And how are they going to understand, how's anybody going to understand each other if they
Sure.
can't tap into their own emotional state,
Right.
right?
Well, we both know, Athena, that mental health used to be such a taboo topic, but right now it's a really hot topic because we're seeing all of the PTSD from what's happened over the past 2 years, right? So it's so important
Yes.
to make sure that our youth knows that it's okay not to be okay, but let's try to fix it. And let's not try to fix it like a quick fix, right? A lot of parents are taking their kids to therapists, which then they're prescribed medications to help with their stress and their anxiety. Why? Here's another quick fix. Let's just be still and take, some deep belly breaths and see how powerful that truly is. Not just once, right? Not just twice, but
It's
make it
so interesting because they think it's a quick fix. So just take and most of America actually and the world now with Western medicine, it's if there's an ailment, it's like here, just take this pill, and you're going to be better. And so you think, oh great, I'm going to have this quick fix. But then what we don't realize is there are so many side effects as a result of this. Whereas if you were to just I know it feels like maybe it's not as quick when you have to do daily practice and daily work to, take a moment to pause, take a moment to meditate or do your breathing or just even stretching your body with yoga. With yoga, that is a form of meditation too, as you incorporate your body.
Right.
But this doesn't have negative side effects.
Right.
So I would love to see this coming out more and, start turning away from some of this medication that has shown to have, drastic side effects for our youth and for ourselves as well, and move towards a more natural state of healing. I know there's not as much money in that for the for medical world, but you know what? There is if we are healthier, if we're happier. We can just improve so much more and see the joy from our kids.
Right.
So Michelle, do you have a morning ritual? I'm big into rituals, right? So do you have a morning ritual that you use that you can just automatically, and maybe you share with your kids, that you just set your day into the positive? What's your go-to for starting this positive day forward?
I talk about breath work and meditation and yoga all the time because that's helped me heal in so many ways. But a lot of people think breath work, yoga even, is a little intimidating. So I like to suggest maybe just taking baby steps, just waking up in the morning and not reaching for your phone, right? Just waking up in the morning and spending 2 to 3 minutes just taking deep breaths in bed, right? Just stretching and being and really paying attention and taking um, you know just kind of understanding what's going on in your body, right? And just realizing what a gift it is to wake up and be breathing. So I like to
Yes.
just be mindful in bed because for so many years working in television, I had to, the alarm to wake me up and then had to run out and, go, 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 go. So I actually, my thing is waking up, whether it is with an alarm or not, and just spending a couple minutes in bed and
I
just
so agree with that. I cannot agree with that more. That first couple minutes, right? Before you start your day, before you touch the phone, before you get up and go to the bathroom, just taking those couple minutes. And I love it to do it with gratitude also, just saying what I am grateful for. But I love incorporating your breathing with that. Like you said, like, I'm just so thankful I can breathe. I'm so thankful I'm connecting to my body and stretching. And this is such a beautiful way to start the day. And I love that you do that too. Of course you do, right? Of course we both have that couple minutes because we spent too many years rushing, and parents do this too. Kids do this too. It's always this go, go, go. We have to hurry. We have the next appointment. We have school. We have work or whatever it is, a meeting, and we don't take that the precious few moments. And it doesn't even have to be a full 2 minutes. Like, take 30 seconds even just to connect to yourself and allow yourself, because then whatever the day brings you and throws at you, if you're starting at this high level, high vibration, it's much harder to take you back down. So I love that you do that too. Now, Michelle, please tell people how they can get involved, how they can reach you or get involved with your foundation. I think We Just Breathe Foundation is just an incredible tool for people to get involved with and start being active. How would people do that?
Well, we have so many different things that we're working on right now. We're working with the Chicago Police Department, and hopefully, we're going to be working with police departments across the country and try to build relationships with youth in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods and try to build those relationships and try to introduce mindfulness not only to our youth but also to those protecting our communities, the police department. We also want to try to get into schools and make it kind of part of their curriculum to take a moment to breathe and, to kind of reset before some of the most stressful things in, the kid's day, which is taking a test. But for more information, you can go on our website, wejustbreathefoundation.org. And we would love to hear from you, any volunteers as well. We'd love that.
I love that. I would love to see people getting active and involved with this, because it's such an important thing, and important for the person too, because while they do this great work, they're also helping our kids, and that's so fulfilling on their own personal journey. I mean, our children are our future, and when we give to them, what we give, we get back. So I love to see that you are this shining light to guide them in their healing journey, and, helping them step out of this, routine that leads them to nowhere. So I love that you're taking such an active role. And I'm so sorry that it took, a pandemic. It took, dealing with grief. And I'm, sorry for your children, but I love that you were able to see the silver lining and turn this negative into something so incredibly positive. So it has been just...
Through pain, I found my purpose, and it's the truth.
And that is such a common story. Not, I was the same. Through pain, I found my purpose. And we hear that so often. And it's such a gift to be able to turn that around and help lift others up, so they don't have to go through what we did. Right. So that
it's all part of service, right? It's sharing your knowledge, sharing what you've learned through your experiences, through your struggles, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Sharing
and
your
the
life.
best healers, the best mentors, they're people, if you look, they're typically the ones who've really had some serious suffering or serious life events that kind of took them into that new direction. So if that helps others, at least we know that our pain was not for nothing, right?
Absolutely.
So it serves its purpose, and that's a gift in and of itself.
Thank you
Michelle,
so much. Thank you truly for sharing our movement, sharing our message, and letting us share our mission. And I truly appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your light and your love.
Oh, I love you. Thank you so much. Well, it has been just such a gift to share energy with you here today and share your story and your wonderful work. And thank you for being a part of Raise Your Vibes and, sharing this life-changing work that you're doing to elevate the vibration, especially for our youth. We're all connected. And, when you vibe higher, everybody around us will too. And I love to see this starting with our youth, so we can raise our vibes together.
Absolutely.
And to close, I always love to leave you all with a sacred Reiki Reiju blessing for your highest good. So, and you can learn more about how Reiki can change and create positive change for your life at crystalreikihealer.com. So for now, everyone, please just take a moment to settle into your sacred space, whether this is in your car, at home, or just simply with your intention to accept this moment of positive healing vibration. And you can do this while you're doing your belly breaths. Go ahead and extend your belly during your breaths, as Michelle has taught us, and relax and enjoy as you receive. And we'll begin by shining that beautiful light over your crown, allowing the gift of Reiki to open and enter your energy centers and clear down your aura, wiping away any negativity that may be latched on or spinning with your mind. And allowing that divine light to enter through your mind, settling those worries, releasing those negative thoughts, allowing you to hear from a place of love, allowing you to communicate from a place of love, shining that divine light through your third eye, allowing you to connect with your inner self, your intuition, and what serves your highest good. An energy placed through your mouth that you communicate, that you speak, the words that come from you will be from a place of love. And over your neck, your throat chakra, allowing your creativity to flow, allowing you to hear from a place of love, allowing you to hear and connect with others on an energetic level. And through your heart chakra, allowing your love space, your heart center to open and free of all negativity coming into your world. Just open your hands and just enjoy anything that you touch. Everything that you touch for the rest of your day or your evening will be from a place of love. And then bringing that beautiful energy from below your feet up through your energy centers, showering that Reiki love over your entire being. Ah, wonderful. Please take a moment, bring your hands to prayer position or gasao, as we know in Reiki, and take a moment of gratitude for allowing yourself this time of peace and allowing yourself to receive the gift of Reiki. And whenever you are ready to stand up and go back to your day, please remember to have a glass of cool water just to assist you in grounding and continuing the healing process. I am your host and crystal Reiki healer, Athena Bahri, and I am so grateful to have shared energy together today with the wonderful support of our sponsor, Westwood Clinic. Living without pain is their gift to you. Join me next week here on KP Media TV for another episode of Raise Your Vibes. Wishing you all so much love, healing, and many blessings.
It's time.
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 It's time to breathe.
We would love to feature your brands and products on our show, Raise Your Vibes. Please contact info@crystalreikihealer for sponsorship opportunities to raise awareness to your brand. Disclaimer: Reiki and other forms of energy healing shared on the show are meant to be supplementary healing practices. Always contact your medical licensed professional for questions or concerns regarding your physical, emotional, and mental health. Thank you.